Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. I hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. You can find more updates about Elevating Traders, join discussions, share ideas. If you're looking for other opinions or seeing what other people are looking to trade, you can find that all in Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link in the description below and also at the top of the chat. But guys, welcome to another stream. As always, I'll go through the DXY USD pairs first. Then we'll take a look at gold, silver, indices. We'll go through other requests as well. What's up, Raphael? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Euro USD, Aussie CAD. I'll go through Euro USD pretty soon. Aussie CAD, I'll take a look after I go through the USD pairs, but I'll take a look at that opportunity for you. Do not worry. What's up, Sultani? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. What is up, Shashi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. So first things first, the dollar. DXY. So yeah, dollar, I'm still pretty bearish. I'm still looking for opportunities that favor more downside, more weakness in the USD. So I'm looking at shorts for this one. However, I do want to see a bit of a pullback now. The market has been a little bit stale, a little bit sideways, as we can see in this kind of manner here. Very slow corrective. So it looks like price is getting ready for a move to the upside. However, I'm still looking at that as a retracement for price to see more downside. Overall, I'm looking at these major lower highs prices formed not too long ago. One over there, second over there. I'm looking at third for another push back down. But of course, before that happens, I need to see a retracement. And I'm looking at predominantly this area here on the left, a really nice area of supply where we consolidated for a few days before we did see a really nice drop. So I'm looking for price to come back and revisit that area for the next lower high for a drop. And again, keeping it pretty simple, back into lows. There is a support level just below us we may push into, but we can discuss that in more detail, when the setup actually does start to fall. But at the moment, this is still really what I'm looking for. Like I said, in the meantime, I'm kind of favoring move to the upside for the dollar just for that retracement because we've had a really nice drop. But since then, the market has really lacked momentum and is pretty much consolidating right now. So I expect retracement, but the move I'm looking to take advantage of is very much the shorts here. So that is really what I'm looking at with the dollar. So taking that information into Euro USD, of course, I'm looking at pretty much the opposite of that. So Euro, you can see, is very, very congested, very corrective as well. So again, for Euro, I'm expecting to see a bit of retracement. And also Euro having a really tough time trying to break through resistance here on the left as well. So again, adding to the idea that price is very tired. We can see that anyway. And it does look like potentially we could be seeing a move to the downside. So I do favor some downside for Euro USD. I'm not looking to short Euro. That's not the move I'm looking to do. The trend for me has very much kind of hit a plateau. It's starting to, we did see a really nice bearish trend, but since then the market starting to round at the bottom, becoming a bit more flat. So I wouldn't really want to be looking to jump into sells as a swing trader anyway. Of course, intraday, you might find some short-term opportunities, which makes 100% sense. But I'm looking for that bigger move to the upside, which looks like it's taking its time. But if dollar does see that follow through, which I just explained, Euro USD's got a good bet to do the exact opposite. And I'm looking for something similar as well. I'm looking for a much deeper pullback into this area. Hopefully we can see that in the next few days and then try and catch that next high low with one over there, second over there, and a third in this area around 1.035. Take some entries back into resistance and so on and so forth. If everything goes well, potentially push back into this area here too. So Euro USD, I'm pretty bullish bias as well. However, again, we are failing at highs a lot. So it does look like potentially Euro could see a move to the downside. Not really interested in the shorts. That's not the move I've really planned out. This is the move I'm looking for. So I'll wait for price to come to me and then I'll be looking for some entries. But that is the area I'm interested in to take Euro to the upside. Again, for GPUSD, similar situation as well. I like this one a little bit more than euro. It's a bit cleaner. The trend to the upside has been a little bit more aggressive. It's not necessarily an aggressive trend, but it's more aggressive than euro. A lot cleaner with the higher highs and higher lows. You've got a lovely trend line running through the previous lows here. So 1, 2, 3. Now looking for a fourth. There's a really nice level of support, which is now flipped to resistance, which is flipped again to support. So as we can see, support once, twice, then resistance twice. Now looking for that same area to hold as support. So I've got some really nice confluence in this area, and I'm looking for a continuation to the upside. There's resistance here on the left, which looks really good. Potentially price could be making a move back to the 1.28 area, but I think if I can just get a trade in this area here, I'll just keep it relatively simple. A push back to the swing high. No need to overcomplicate it. If the risk reward looks good, I'll take profits there. But yeah, pound USD again, another USD pair, which again is showing signs of fatigue, really congested in this area, starting to fire some wicks to the upside. This doesn't guarantee that the market is about to sell off. It just means the market is very tired, and potentially we could see price push down. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to retrace so I can buy it a lot further down around this 1.25 area, find the next high low, then the continuation of the trend I would expect to happen. So that's really what I'm looking at for pound USD. Again, the upside looks really good. We've had a really clean bearish trend, but not too long ago we did kind of see the not necessarily end of that, but a new kind of bullish phase has since emerged since we broke through that counter trend line. So I'm looking at a lot more upside now for pound. However, I need to see that pullback happen first, and then I can start to look for some opportunities. So that's really what I'm after for pound USD. Similar situation with euro, very tight. It looks like we might retrace. Dollar CAD, I'm still looking to short this one. It hasn't been as clean of a pullback as I wanted. It was a very aggressive pullback here to the upside, so that did kind of tempt me out the trade. I'm still looking to short this one. It potentially might be seeing a bigger pullback than I initially expected. I said the two areas I'm looking to short from is these two areas here, so 1.435 and 1.45. I said if this area doesn't hold or I don't get the confirmations I'm looking for, then I'll be looking at 1.45. At the moment, not such a big fan of this area right now. Things could change though. If we start to maybe consolidate, fire some really aggressive wicks to the upside, I may be looking at some entries maybe this afternoon or whenever it does form. But at the moment, since we had such an aggressive retracement, I need to see some really strong rejection here. That does look like price is about to roll over. At the moment, there's still a lot of momentum in the market. And despite these bearish reactions, it's not enough for me to short the market just yet. Again, the bias is still very much bearish. We had the massive fade to the upside over there. This was the original consolidation we had. Price manipulated that to the upside, and then we had a really nice follow through to the downside. So I am looking at a lower high for a push back to these lows and potentially a lot further as well. So that's still the idea and still the trade I'm looking to play. However, in terms of finding good entries, I don't really have one just yet. Retracement was very aggressive, so if you can reject this very well, maybe get some exaggerated wicks in that area, hopefully might find some entries maybe this afternoon. Or if we do push up a little bit higher, like I said, I'll also look at this area for the same move back to 1.414, which is pretty much the low here. So that's still the trade idea for you, USD CAD. Not quite set up how I wanted it to, but we are in some nice areas. So now it's just about monitoring price, waiting for the best time to take the trade. In terms of Aussie dollar, so kind of some situation to dollar CAD, really nice push to the downside. What we are trading in a nice area. Again, pretty, this had a slightly better retracement because it wasn't as aggressive, but still no kind of confirmation to go long. The market has been very aggressive to the downside and has kept that push pretty well. If the market does have a nice shift to the upside, maybe a strong bullish candle like that, that could be a really nice entry signal, retesting the range, which we discussed in the previous days, and potentially forming that next high low for a push back to a high. So that could be a really nice entry confirmation for Aussie dollar. At the moment, things still look pretty bearish intraday, and we could potentially keep rolling. Especially, I'll keep a close eye on the dollar as well, because if the dollar does break to the upside, then of course that means a bit more downside for Aussie dollar. So we don't want to jump the gun a little bit too early, but we are in a nice area to buy from. Of course, we can see last time we were in this range, price consolidated, shot to the upside with some nice momentum and broke structure as well. So it's a very important area here, which we could bounce from, but the entry is very, very important, which hasn't arisen just yet. So keep a close eye on that area. If we can reject well, see a strong shift outside of that, that could be a nice entry. If not, we might come a little bit deeper, perhaps to the lower end of the range, similar to what dollar CAD is doing as well. So keep an eye on that with Aussie dollar. NZD USD broke out some confluence. I'm not as big of a fan of NZD USD as I once was. We had some nice trendline confluence here. We had previous resistance, which was holding a support here as well. So I was looking for price to hold that area for a bounce, but as we can see, we're trading below it. So that area has broken. Doesn't necessarily mean that New Zealand dollar is now going to potentially sell off again. It could do, but it just means that that buy opportunity I was looking at there is no longer valid because we've broken through those confluences. We may still see price have a deeper correction and potentially push up at a later date, but it's just not a trade idea which I'll look to take because the area I was looking for price to hold is no longer holding. So New Zealand dollar, again, on the 4-hour chart, didn't give much of a reaction. Kind of a similar situation to Aussie dollar. It kind of just stayed bearish, no kind of real shift in momentum, and price slowly just broke through that confluence. So with New Zealand dollar, we could become a little bit deeper. This was originally my area which I was looking to buy from. So we might be coming back to retest that consolidation before some upside. But the key thing is that shift in momentum showing that, okay, buys are stepping in. We've got a big reaction and price is likely going to follow through to the upside. We're still kind of waiting for that evidence. Same with Aussie dollar as well, and same for dollar CAD. In terms of gold, so gold, last time we had a look at gold, we were trading around here. I said intraday there might be some nice shorts if we were to push back up again. Didn't quite push up as high as I described yesterday. I said it'd be nice if price can push, double top, and then sell. We kind of got 3/4 of the way there before the sell happened. Of course, the market's not perfect. You know, sometimes you're waiting for price to hit your resistance or support or wherever you're looking to buy or sell from, and it might miss it just by a small margin, and the move happens. You know, that's just the reality of trading. And sometimes it will go a little bit further than expected, and then the move happens as well. So, yeah, it will happen on both sides of the coin there. But nice push to the downside for gold. We're hinting at potentially a top forming. I'm still looking at this as overall a range, so I'm not getting too excited just yet. We've got resistance here, which price did fail to break through, which is, you know, a very, very significant thing to note. Likewise with support here as well. Really strong support once, twice, and now we're in that area again for a third time. Price potentially could find support here and very much push back to the upside. So gold overall is still very much a bullish trend. If I'm going to be looking to short gold, I want to see a strong break of support here, and that will indicate to me, okay, probably in a bit of a bearish counter trend situation here, and we can probably expect a bit more downside. I'm looking at this daily price swing high over there as an area where gold might drift towards for a pullback before potentially continuing to the upside. So keeping a close eye on 27.88 as an area which could attract price. But first things first, we do need to break through support for me to be interested in sales. Otherwise, gold might just push on. This is still a very, very bullish climate on the daily chart. So let's not try and jump the gun here. There will be opportunity to short gold, but you want to make sure that the odds are in your favor first before jumping in. But yeah, price failing to break through the highs. It looks like we could be falling a bit at the top. The key thing I want to see is the break of support. Then I'll be interested in some sales. Silver as well, not looking too good for the buyers as well. Really struggling to break through resistance. So for now, really just put me off the trade, to be honest. Yeah, if price is failing to break resistance, doesn't really make much sense as a buyer of silver. I'm very bullish. You know, if I expand to the higher time frames, the overall trend is still very much up, as we can all see. So as a swing trade, I'm looking for swings predominantly to the upside, not exclusively, but mostly I'm looking for buys. If there's a good sell, of course, I won't turn that down. But what I can see is that the market is struggling at resistance so aggressively. We tried to break through last week. Again, that came straight back down. So potentially silver's getting ready for a bigger push to the downside. That could be the case. So I'm kind of backing away. Now's not the best time to be buying silver. If for some reason we suddenly break to the upside and we're trading back above the level, great. Then the next pullback would be of much higher probability. And hopefully I can swing it back to 34.8. So that would be something that would interest me. But at the moment, still failing to break resistance. And this is a very strong resistance level as well. It's not just any level. It's clearly rejected price very well on numerous occasions. So have to be very careful. Like I said, if anything, this is a bit more of a bearish signal for silver. Wouldn't be surprised if you see a correction and another drop for this one. We've got one high there. Second one could easily see a third as we respect that resistance and a drop. So the buys are definitely not looking good at the moment for silver. So definitely backing away. I'm not really so interested with the shorts. But yeah, I can't really see any good longs. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD side of things. Let me go through some chats. Where was I? Good morning, Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Amrit, what's up? Gold. I just went through gold. Let me know if you saw the analysis. Darkshun, good morning. Hope you're well. Big surprise this morning, GJ. Big push. Yeah, the yen pairs are looking a little bit bullish this morning. Interesting stuff across the board with the yen currency pairs. And we'll go take a look at pound yen. Left a big liquidity zone behind. Good opportunity for short entries. Okay, we'll have a look. See, I'm doing good. Follow the trend. Hope you are well too. Regards to gold, boost selling this morning. Do you expect an even bigger retracement to 28.70 as a potential buy zone? Okay, I'll have a look at that zone there. Abdul, good afternoon. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Yusuf, good morning. Good morning. I am doing good. Hope you're well. Lighton, what is up? Hope you're doing good. At the end, I guess I'm late today. No problem. Okay, I'll go through dollar CAD and Aussie for you. First, I will have a look at Aussie CAD for Raphael. I did mention that a while ago. And then I'll go through GJ and gold and Aussie and USD CAD. So for Aussie CAD, for this one, you asked, is it time to sell? I'm not really a big fan of Aussie CAD at the moment. To be honest, I'm not really looking to sell this one or buy this one. I mean, in terms of my analysis, which is sometimes different from an actual setup, because analysis is to do with direction, setups to do with actually position yourself short or long, stop loss and entries. I don't really have a good setup right now for Aussie CAD, but I'm actually pretty bearish on this one. I'm still looking for us to return to support. We're still putting these major lower highs. If we zoom out, look at the overall picture, very, very consistent with these highs, and they're all very much in sync. So the odds of us returning back to support there are pretty high. The odds of us slightly doing this versus that, that move there is very unlikely. Not that it can't happen. For some reason it could, of course, but we've been very consistent with these lower highs. So the odds are price is putting another lower high in to come back into support. So I'm very bearish on Aussie CAD from a higher time frame perspective. So I'm looking to short the pair, but I just don't really have a good opportunity to do that right now. I've been looking at the bearish channel we're trading in. So I did like the channel originally. Price was pretty consistent. We saw lower lows and lower highs. We had a high over there, another one there. I was looking at another one in this area. We had a nice double top there as well. Price did have a nice reaction initially, but since then we've broken out the channel and things are just very awkward right now. Is price breaking out to potentially push further to the upside? Is it just having a larger correction to push down? It could be as well. It's just not clear cut right now with Aussie CAD. So although I'm looking to short the pair, I don't really have a clear bias for that. I know it's back at resistance, which is great, but the fact that we didn't continue within the channel means there's a lack of momentum in the market. So we might hold this, but I wouldn't be optimistic in terms of catching a swing back to the lows. It's a very corrective pair anyway, Aussie CAD. And of course, if you do break to the upside, there might be some shorter term buy opportunities at play. There's a break in resistance. At that point, you've got successive higher lows. Could be looking to catch the next one on a retest of a level somewhere. So that could look like a nice opportunity. So as I said, don't really have a clear-cut opportunity to short. If anything, if we were to break to the high, break to the upside, I would actually not mind that buy. I'll keep it short and sweet. Like I said, the overall bias I have is very much down, but there could definitely be some nice buys for a couple of days. It just doesn't mean I'm going to expect price to fall without any upside. Yeah, something like that could look like a nice buy in the next coming days. So that's actually not a bad opportunity. I'm not really a fan of the sells, but the buys short term, I do like it above that resistance. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Aussie CAD. Not my favorite pair at the moment, though. Okay, so let me take a look at pound yen. Darkshon said he's looking at some sells, I believe. Let's drop to the 5-minute chart. Okay, so yeah, very, very choppy stuff over the past few days, but it does look like price has pushed up pretty aggressively. So yeah, actually does look like a nice sell. It does look like a really nice sell. I think price may have just about tapped into this area. Yeah, just about. This was the same zone I was chatting about a couple of days ago, because you can see we consolidated there pretty well, and then had a really, really big drop there to the downside. So a lot of momentum came from that area. And since we left that area, we never came back to revisit. This is the first time price is actually revisiting that area. And judging how price is moving, you can see that what we do is we form a high, we just about take out the high, and then we have a sell. We form a high, just about take out the high, then we have a sell. We form a high, just about take out the high, and what do? We have a big sell. And what do we do here again? We form a high, just about take out the high, and potentially we have another big sell. And now we've got a bit more backing in our favor because we're coming from this nice zone of supply, really strong drop. There's a potential possibility that we could see another drop as big as that, but I would say potentially a pushback to this area is a reasonable bet. For GJ, a pushback to 189.200, let's say. We could very much push back to lows here because, again, I'm still very much bearish overall on pound yen on the higher time frame, so possibly might see a bigger continuation. But in terms of just like a reasonable trade, I would suggest a pushback to this area. It makes a load of sense, and you can always leave positions to run further if you're looking for it. But yeah, in terms of the setup, I like it. Based on how the market's moving, it makes a load of sense. We keep taking out highs and keep having aggressive sales. We tapped into a nice area of supply there. And I like the move to the upside as well, very aggressive. So the market's pretty stretched as well. So I do expect it to contract in the opposite direction. So yeah, I think from a 5-minute chart, it looks like a really nice sell opportunity. And you can have stops, relatively tight above the high there. Doesn't have to be above the whole zone, but in a nice place for a short. So I agree. 4-hour chart doesn't look particularly great, but again, 4 hours, I'm still expecting more downside. I'm looking for us to eventually take out this low. So in my book, on the 4-hour chart as well, I do still see more downside. It's just it's been very, very choppy the past few days, so it's difficult to find a good short. Okay, so I'll go through gold next, and then we'll go through USD CAD and Aussie dollar as well. Yusuf, yes, I'll go for Aussie dollar as well. Looking for a buy position. Okay, we'll take a look at that. No problem. Manzondi, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Follow the trend. Also, can we check out resistance on pound CAD as a possible long-term sell? Okay. I'll have a look at that. I think I know the level you are referring to. Anyway, let me go through gold. So even bigger retracement to 2870. Let's have a look. See. Okay, so gold. Where is 2870? 2870. Yeah, that's pretty much where we are. So your question was regard to gold. Big selling this morning. Do you expect an even bigger retracement to 2870 as a potential buy zone? Well, I'm personally looking at the buy zone because, again, I'm not too sure which time frame you're looking at. But on the 4-hour chart, I'll pretty much be looking at this as the zone of where price is respected as support and resistance. So as you can see, previously resistance once, twice, support over there again, and looks like it's acting as support at the moment too. So this is the zone I would have to to look at potential buys. 28.80, I'll probably mark that as 28.70, just below, but this is the zone I'll be paying attention to. And we have left another wick into that level there as well. So we might be seeing a bit of a bounce there for gold. Now, gold, the way I see it, is kind of just moving sideways. So really aggressive move this morning, but all it's done is just pushed us directly back into support, where potentially we might push back up again, back into resistance, and then we're back at square one. So the real thing I'm looking for gold is the breakout, past resistance here, past support there, because that will be a big sign in terms of where price could go next. If we clear support, then I'm looking at potentially a bit of a bearish gold and a retracement, possibly back to highs here, 27.80. And then maybe some longs further down, or potentially if we do break to the upside, then I'm looking at buys again and some pullbacks back to the next big psychological level, which is at 3K. Excuse me. So really for gold, I'm not interested inside of here. I'm just waiting for price to break out. If we do break the zone, then we could see retracement back to 27.80, which is the prior high. That's something I'll be looking at as well. But I'll see how we break out, how much force there is. Everything's very hypothetical at this moment in time. But should we see a strong break? Sure, I would expect some retracement back to the high. It just depends how we look and how we retrace. But for now, not really interested because I'm kind of just looking at this as a range and the market is just spending time in that range. So gold, lovely uptrend, is pausing now. Is it a pause for continuation? Is it a pause for retracement? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, not really interested with gold whilst it's in that consolidation. I'll go through dollar CAD and Aussie dollar next. I'm gonna take a look at pound CAD as well. No problem, Soltani. Happy to help. Took a sell and set a trading stop for 30 pips. Okay, nice. I will let it fly free for now. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that position, Darkshun. I like that position a lot. Nice area it's come into based on how price is moving. It makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I really do like that position. Okay, so in terms of Aussie dollar and dollar CAD, then I'll take a look at pound CAD. So Aussie dollar in a nice area for a buy as well. We come back into this consolidation here, which is the same consolidation I've been talking about for a while. Really strong move to the upside, consolidation, strong push. Then we got some follow through, and now it looks like price is coming back to retest that for the first time, which is great because now this is where we're looking to buy from. However, in terms of the entries, in terms of the shift in price action, we haven't quite seen that yet. You can see price has been very, very consistent on this bearish move to the downside. Every time we come into the trend line, we leave behind a bit of a wick, and price continues to fall. And that could be the case through the current level we're trading right now. If price was to give us a sudden change in momentum and a strong bullish candle closing above, something like this, doesn't necessarily have to be that big, but something that says that, okay, things are changing, direction is changing, gives a strong candle, that would be a nice entry signal there for Aussie dollar on the 4-hour chart, and that could give us the continuation back to highs. If price remains sluggish and corrective and below that trend line, then most likely we'll probably see another drop, perhaps back into this level before we do see the push, which is kind of where I'll be focusing on next if we do have a slightly deeper correction. So Aussie dollar, I'm still very bullish, still looking for the higher low. However, not really seeing much rejection here yet. It could change this afternoon. It might form on Friday, but at the moment, nothing really signaling, giving us an indication that price is about to turn. So waiting for that to happen, or waiting for us to hit the next area before looking for a buy. But the key thing I want to see is that shift in momentum. I'm still looking at the same move, but at the moment, the bears are still very much in control, even intraday as well, as we're slowly falling. So we need to be careful of that, not jumping into trades too early before they're kind of got the confirmation yet. In terms of dollar CAD as well, similar situation with this one. Really nice retracement yesterday, but just a bit too aggressive for me. So I haven't been looking to get into an entry just yet In terms of where we're trading, two areas which I like. Well, 1.45, we're not there yet, but this level here, 1.435, I do really like this level. Too short from. Again, we had that range not too long ago. Big manipulation of that, big gap to the upside, and we had that big follow through back down again. So the plan is I'm looking for a lower high for the continuation of that bearish move. However, no kind of entry for me just yet. We've had a really aggressive retracement. Price has come into a nice area, but I want to see a bit more development there. Wicks shifting momentum before I do take any positions. If we were to break through, like I said, this will be the next area I'll look at for some shorts. But yeah, USD CAD not quite ready yet. In terms of the setup, I really like it. Market structure looks really good. In terms of the entries and the confirmation to get into the trade, that's not quite up to scratch just yet. So keeping a close eye. It's in a nice area. The key thing I'm focusing on is not jumping to the trade too early before it's quite set yet. It's not quite set yet for myself here for dollar CAD, but I'm looking for entries for those two areas. If this doesn't hold, then 1.45 will have my attention. And if I go over to pound CAD, so pound CAD, you spoke about a big sell. Next valid resistance on pound CAD, possible long-term sell at 1.835. So I suppose that this the big level. Okay, slightly higher up, 835, which is about there. On the weekly chart, okay. Oh, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. The high over here. So yeah, potentially 100%. That's a big level on the weekly chart, and we could see a big reaction from that. Again, I would wait to see price. I wait to see how price reacts when we get there, because it's a big weekly zone, and we could still spend 2, 3, 4 weeks at that level before we do turn around. And of course, for all we know, price could get there and potentially even break through that level as well. So nothing's guaranteed, but 100% is a massive level. And should price respect that, we could be in for a long-term move to the downside and a long-term sell. So I do agree with you 100%. But the key thing is to see how price reacts when we get there and how we look. Because on one side of the coin, we could respect it and turn around and have a really big sell. On the other side of the coin, price could potentially break through that as well. So we have to be prepared for both sides. But yeah, I like the short opportunity there. It's just above us, but I want to see some really strong signs of rejection before jumping in terms of market structure as well. And then that would interest me. At the moment, this is still very much the trend at play. So I'm being very careful not to go against that directly until I see evidence that things are changing. Because there's still an uptrend at play. I know we kind of failed at highs a few times here, but we haven't broken through major structure yet. So being very careful for that. But yeah, we're definitely coming to an area where we could reverse. So that is it's a good call. Just need to wait for the structure to start pointing in that direction. Then we can find some pullback somewhere and really milk that trade. But yeah, we could see a reversal, but the candlesticks and the price action when we get there will tell us the story we need to know. And no problem, follow the trend. Happy to help. Raphael is okay. Is it a good place to long CAD CHF? Okay, I'll go through CAD CHF for you. What's up, Alex? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you are well. Okay, I'll quickly go through CAD Swiss. CAD CHF, good place to long. So it's an interesting one because CAD CHF is just kind of back and forth, really. It is very much in a range. I would want price to fall a little bit further before looking to buy. I'm looking at this support level here as I take it across. And as we can see, it has held very well. Originally over there, second time, third time, fourth, and potentially a fifth. So Price has definitely found support here and failed to break through it very, very aggressively. So this is clearly a level of support not to be messed around with. Price looks like it's just about found support just above where we are, and we've had a really strong reaction in the 4-hour chart. So potentially we might form a higher low and push on, but in terms of getting a decent stop loss, I would want price to be testing that level. Reason being, if I put a stop loss here, I'm in a vulnerable place right now because although, yes, maybe price does push up from that area, maybe it just doesn't have enough juice to come back and retest the low. But if I was to be stopped out, it doesn't really sit right with me having a stop loss just there when I clearly know that this is a big, big level of support. So I'd rather wait to see if price could get there and put my stop loss below that level where, okay, if price does stop me out, fair enough. I have my stop loss in a pretty safe place. If I do get wicked out here, I get wicked out. But then again, even if I do get wicked out, as long as price recovers, I can still quickly find a re-entry and take advantage of the move as well. And the risk reward looks pretty juicy from this area. So even if I do get wicked out, if I'm still in the right direction, re-entries would look pretty smooth. But besides from that, if I would have a stop loss here, again, I'm just in a bit of a sticky situation. I potentially could catch the trade and maybe price does push on. But if I was to be stopped out, like I said, that wouldn't really sit right with me, knowing that there's a really big level of support there, just to see price potentially test that and then make the move. So I would wait for price to push a little bit down, a little bit further down to 0.62 before looking to buy. Like I said, potentially price does form the high low here. We're not to know until it does find out. Just in terms of placing entries and stop losses in appropriate places, I would wait for price to push a little bit further down for CAD CHF. But again, this is just a market that is just ranging. So the best thing to do in a ranging situation is buy low and sell high. If you can, try and sell a little bit higher. If you can, try and buy a little bit lower. It's always best if you can be the lowest buyer or the highest seller in the range, because it puts you right at the top or right at the bottom, and you can find a really safe stop loss as well. If it's in the middle, the closer it is to the middle, the more chaotic price will be and the more traps there are as well. So yeah, CAD CHF, just very clean ranging market right now. Equal highs over there, equal lows there. Didn't quite make it to the low, so I would want price to roll over to get to support again. Then we can start to talk about some longs, but right now, not quite there yet. So yeah, I would wait for a little bit more juice before looking to buy. Okay, I'll go through gold, US30, NAS as always. Alex will take a look for you, no problem. I basically trade high time frames once those big levels get hit and swing them for a couple hundred bips. Okay. Makes sense. Again, that's a good way to look at it, because when price gets like a big weekly level, 200 pips is not necessarily a lot in regard to a weekly chart. Of course, if you're trading like an hourly chart, 200 pips is a huge move. But to a weekly chart, 200 pips is not that big. The average weekly candle on pound CAD might be like 150, 160, maybe even 200 pips. So if the average range of a weekly candle is 200 pips, trying to catch a 200 move on a 200 pip move on the weekly chart is relatively simple. Not in terms of simple as in you just do it every time, but I'm talking about the distance price has to move. It's very relative to what the chart is going to give you. So looking at big weekly levels, if you're looking to catch 200, 300 pips, it'll make a lot more sense versus, scaling to like a 5-minute chart and trying to plot a 200 pip move there. Of course, you're going to have to, price has to work a lot harder to get there. So I can definitely see the sense there. But yeah, for gold, as I said, for this one, just very flat ranging, equal highs, equal lows, prices trapped between support and resistance right now. So I'm not really interested with gold's price until we kind of make a move in terms of breaking out of this consolidation. There's your support, there's your resistance. Price attempted to break out a couple occasions, was unsuccessful. Now we're back at support. So there could be some short-term buys from this area. If you're looking for a reaction, not really the trade I'm after, really. I'm looking for two things: either for gold to start to retrace, because of course we've been bullish for so long. It might be time for us to retrace now. If that's the case, great. I'm waiting for price to break support and start to look for some entries to take it down. We do have the prior swing high here on the left. Potentially that's where price might want to get another retest of. So something like that could interest me. Of course, likewise to the upside, if we were to break to the upside, then of course looking for the continuation of the trend and just more upside, just like we've been doing for the past few months now. And we've got 3K up there, big psychological level, which is probably going to draw price towards it. So really for gold, it's just about waiting for it to make its move, and then I'm looking to follow it whichever direction. So yeah, as long as price is in that range, I'm not really too interested. But once we make a move, I am going to be pretty bearish or bullish, depending which way we break out. In terms of US 30, I spoke about some shorts for this one yesterday. I don't think we came into the area, did we? No. I was talking about shorts from this area. Looks like price was just far too bearish to see that move. I think we were trading around here yesterday on stream. I think. Where were we? No, here. We were around here somewhere. And I said it would be nice if price could push a little bit higher, test this area, because clearly that's where we had a really strong drop from. So a lot of supplies there. It would be nice to test that area before a sell. Unfortunately, the market was just far too bearish and we had another drop. But what we did see is price respect support again. We've had first, second, third, fourth, and a fifth test of that level, and it still held very, very well. So what that does tell me that if price was starting to break through this, that would be a really nice place for a short, because clearly price has respected it as support many times. There's a good chance it'll be respected as resistance. So if you were to break through, that would be a nice trade. In terms of the sells, that area still does look good. Still does look good. Really nice drop once, twice. If we were starting to make that move into that area, I would still be looking at a short. But again, I'll be very careful about how aggressively I place my targets, because price has had numerous attempts trying to break support here and have all failed. So this is clearly a level not to be messed with, especially if you're shorting, and especially in a market which is as bullish as US 30 in general as well. That could very well be our next higher low for a big push to the upside. So I'll be very wary of that level. This still looks like a nice short, so I'll still keep an eye on that. And again, in terms of targets, keeping it relatively simple, I would say back into resistance here will look good. And if you want to take it a little bit further, you've got the low there as well. And that's kind of how I'll look to play that one for US 30. Still pretty bearish intraday. Still bullish long term, but intraday still looking to follow that momentum. And this area still looks like a nice place to short from. NAS 100. This one, what did we do? We had not really much, to be honest. Again, still looking at NAS as a bigger range. We've got support down there. We've got resistance above us. Not really looking to do too much with NAS, really. Just looking to buy low and sell high. At the moment, we're neither really at the support level or the resistance, but we're not quite at the support level, kind of similar to CAD-CHF, which we just looked at. We're kind of just above support. So again, not really a big fan of taking the entries here, because if I was to have a stop loss just below that wick, that wouldn't really sit right with me as well, because if I do get stopped out there, it's like, okay, that was clearly the level of support. I would want my stop loss preferably underneath this low, but most likely at least underneath support, at least not there where it's a little bit vulnerable. So yeah, with NAS, I would still be looking at buys for this one. Again, if I scale to the daily chart, overall, very comfortable trend to the upside. So if we do come back into support, there's a good chance it does bounce and we do see a continuation, but we're not quite there yet. So I'll be looking at something like that for NAS over the next couple of days. But yeah, still pretty bullish. Okay, so I will go through what's up, Philip? Welcome to the stream. What about gold? Do you think it has found support? It does look like gold has found support. I'm not necessarily looking to buy gold at the moment because we are very, very flat right now. Prices found support a couple times here as it's done up there. So I think it's a nice place to buy gold intraday, but I'll keep it relatively short. For example, this is the width, or I keep saying the width. This is the height of the range. This is more or less the 50%. So I would say if you do get into some longs here, I'll look to try and take some partials at the 50 and then close the rest at the high of the range, because gold has had a couple attempts trying to break to the upside, which is a bit of a red flag to me. If price had a cleaner rejection of the high, I'll probably be a bit more optimistic with the buys there. But since we had two kind of real fail attempts at that high, it kind of tells me that gold is maybe hitting a bit of a wall, because it has been, in fairness, gold's been bullish for quite a while. It just might be time for us to retrace. So I'm kind of looking for the support level to break, to be honest. But we might have a reaction first before that happens. So I'm not saying it's going to break now. You could very well push the upside first. But what I'm looking for gold is, like I said, I'm waiting for price to break out, and then I'm looking for opportunities in either direction. If we do break to the upside, great. Gold's bullish again. Looking for a push back to 3K. Next big psychological level. If gold breaks support, great. Probably going to see a bit of a counter trend form. We've got the price swing high. That could be where price may want to be drawn towards before seeing a continuation. So yes, it does look like gold is finding support here, but yeah, I'm not looking for a big swing here at all. I'm waiting for price to make a breakout first, and then I'm looking to follow that momentum. Last question regarding BTC bearish momentum. Could we look at selling the break and retest 87? Okay, I'll take a look at Bitcoin. Yeah, it did have a pretty, well, not necessarily big breakout, but it was a strong move for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But we have cleared support, which is the key thing with Bitcoin. So we'll go through that, and then I'll go through some yen pairs. Yusuf, please, what about your USD4? I'm also looking for a long. Okay, we'll have a look. No problem, Alex. Happy to help. So yeah, BTC, we did clear support, and that is a very pivotal moment. I mean, the breakout has actually been a bit bigger. Very pivotal moment, because now that we've cleared support, this range has essentially ended. Been stuck in that range for a couple of months or a few months since November, actually, and now price is firmly below the low. So I'm looking at a lot more downside here for BTC. We've got the prior high here at 73,683. This is where price consolidated, and we had a really big push to the upside. I would be looking at price filling that gap, to be honest, now that we have firmly closed below. So I would be looking at pullbacks and more downside. So if I scale to the 4-hour chart, firstly, this is the most obvious level. Price support, the low of the range. That would be the best place for me to be finding some entries to short. But I wouldn't even mind the retest of this area here. If the pullback was slightly bigger, that would look good as well. But this is very much the play I'm looking at for Bitcoin, or this play here. You mentioned 87K. 87K, which I suppose is the retest of the low here. Yeah, that very well could give us more intraday outlook for Bitcoin. Break and retest the low and continue. That could be the play. If there's a lot of momentum in the market, we could very much find resistance there and continue. As I said, I'm looking for a slightly bigger pullback, since that was the support which Bitcoin spent so many days retesting and bouncing from. Now that that is broken, that would be my number one area to short from. Of course, that's a bit more of a 4-hour trade there. This is a bit more intraday. But those two areas look good, because this is number one. This is where all the momentum came from. So that's a strong oversupply. And number two, this is a strong level of support. So those two levels there, or two confluences, would look good for a short for me. And in terms of direction, I would expect at least a pushback to the low, but more so a pushback to this area. So yeah, Bitcoin, I would be pretty bearish on this one as well. Looking for retracement and continuation. 87K short could definitely send price back down again. There's many times where, sometimes I'm looking for a deeper pullback, but price is just too bearish and it just keeps falling or keeps rising. This could be a situation when that happens. But personally, I would be looking at slightly deeper pullback for entries. But yeah, if we do see some good rejection here, maybe some aggressive wicks, that could be a nice sign to short it back to the low. But I'll keep an eye on all three of those areas, really. If this area doesn't hold, then you can expect the deeper pullbacks. If that area does hold, then of course, probably going to get the continuation from that area. Okay, so Euro USD, Yusuf, I'll have a look see for you. Philip, what is up? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Missed the entry for Katsi Chef and on the 4 hour waiting for a pullback to 0.624 before I buy. What do you think? Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're looking at there for Katsi Chef. I'll have a look at it after Euro. But yeah, in regards to Euro USD, I like the longs for this one as well. We've had a really nice bearish trend, but it's kind of hit a plateau. Nice lower lows and lower highs, a load of momentum in the market, but you can clearly see that things have changed. You know, we're no longer in this trend anymore. We're very much flat, moving sideways. So this phase has ended, and we're in a new phase here. And I'm looking at this to eventually start a new phase of bullish momentum. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards here for Euro. However, in terms of actually trading this, I need price to pull back, pull away from resistance, because right now we're kind of hugging into resistance. We've been looking very, very corrective here. So it looks like the market is drying up, becoming a bit more fatigued, and we're having a really tough time trying to break through resistance. So I do expect to see some downside now for Euro USD, and then I'm looking to buy it. So I'm looking at longs as well, Yusuf. I'm looking at closer to 1.03250, let's say. That's what I'm looking to try and find some longs for Euro, and of course targets back into resistance, maybe for lucky back into 1.06 up there as well. But the idea is to try and catch the next higher low. So we've got one over there, second, potentially a third, and then we look for some buys. So I need Euro to come a lot further down. You know, right now we're very close to resistance, especially as a swing trader. It makes no sense to be looking to buy right now. Maybe you do catch the breakout, but maybe you just catch price back into resistance just to fall against you. So I need price to be back at support. Like I said, intraday, there might be something like this, a nice break and retest. Let's say if price doesn't break to the downside and it breaks to the upside, then that's probably the opportunity you're going to be looking at for Euro. But if you're looking for something a little bit bigger, more meaningful swing, and this is kind of the area you're looking to get involved with. So yeah, Euro, I'm looking at this kind of rounded shape pattern here, and I'm expecting us to eventually pick up the pace to the upside, but we need that bigger pullback first, at least for the 4 hour chart, for me to take some entries. If it's a bit more intraday, I would suggest keep an eye on something like that, which could easily happen. In terms of CAD Chef, so you said you missed the buy, and I think I know what you're getting at, because of course you had a big reaction this morning. You said you're looking for a pullback to 0.62402. 62402. Okay, so you're looking for a buy. You're looking for a buy here, I think. You mark it on the chart 62. Okay, so somewhere around there. So basically looking for price to come back into that consolidation for a buy, which is not a bad bet on the lower charts. How far are you looking to take the trade? Is this a big swing position, or is this kind of more of an intraday play? Let me know what you're looking at. Personally, for me on the 4 hour chart, I'm looking for opportunities down here. I mean, I'm not looking to trade CAD CHF, but if I was looking to trade CAD CHF, it would be opportunities down here, because this is clearly a level which prices pay a lot of attention to in terms of support. We respect it once, twice, third, fourth, fifth time, all with really aggressive rejections and very minimal breakouts as well. So I really like this level of support. Price paid a lot of attention to it. So if price was to get there again and see another rejection, there's a good chance we do see another bounce. So I've been looking for CAD CHF to come a little bit lower before taking the buy. Potentially that might not happen. Maybe price is happy with the low here and we're going to push up from here. That could be the case, but on the 4 hour chart, I wouldn't really want to have my stop loss there, because it's a bit more at risk. Should price want to have that retest I was just referencing, that would stop me out the trade and then see the continuation. I'd rather just wait for price to get there in the first place. It may not do that. That's the risk I'll be willing to take with CAD CHF. But of course, this morning, really aggressive push to the upside after a bit of consolidation from yesterday and overnight. Possibly that could be the higher low, and maybe price is going to now dart to the upside. Like I said, it's not really down at the low, since CAD CHF is just a ranging market. I would want us to be right at the low before taking a buy in, because we're not quite there. If you're looking to take a buy from this area, it's a nice place for a buy, but I wouldn't be too optimistic with targets. So I wouldn't be looking to swing it all the way back to the opposite end. I'd probably be looking to try and see if I can get it back to a high. So let's say if we do pull back from here, that would make a load of sense for a target. Maybe I might hold some positions for an extended target. I can get my words out there. But that'll be about it, because it's more of an intraday play. We're not quite at the low of the range either. So it's not like I'm well positioned to hold for a big trade. Like I said, this could be the high low that does send us up. But just in terms of positioning, I'd rather us be a little bit further down, closer to support, or preferably at support before buying. So yeah, it's a possibility for us to push away, but in terms of where we're positioned, I'd rather us be a little bit further down before looking for that big swing. If you're looking for more intraday, shorter term move, then I can see that happening. No problem. Follow the trend. Happy to help, my man. Okay, big swing, 0.63923, 63923. Okay, it's pretty much back at highs then. So yeah, if that's the case, again, we could do that. Like I said, this could be the highlight that does send this up, but I can see that price has clearly respected this area on multiple occasions. So I would want us to be closer to that level. Again, the market's not perfect. Sometimes you'd be looking for price to get to support, and then it misses it by a few pips, and then it has the big move. Of course, that will happen. This could be another one of those situations where price didn't quite come back into the low and is already looking to turn. That could be the case as well, but those are simply not the trades I'm looking to take. I'm always looking to take trades at my levels, because that's where I've planned to take them. So if it was me, I would wait for price to come back down, even though we've had a strong reaction already. So it looks like maybe price might potentially be looking to push. But in terms of stop loss placement, that's kind of where I would have a little bit of an issue, because preferably I'd want my stop loss to be here, and that's just a little bit too big. I'd rather I can get my entry closer as well. And if it does play out, you're looking at a pretty big risk reward as well. So yeah, CAD Chef, it's a nice range, but I'd wait for us to come a little bit lower before looking for that big swing. Potentially might miss the move because of that. But again, that's just the situation of trading. It's never straightforward. But yeah, that's my outlook for CAD Swiss. What is up, Kojo? Any thoughts on Aussie dollar? Okay, we'll have a look, and then I'll go through some of the yen pairs. No problem, Yusuf. Okay, so let me go through Aussie dollar quickly. So yeah, Aussie dollar, as I mentioned with this one, it's a nice area for a buy, and I'm looking for upside. But at the moment, the market is just a little bit too corrective. As we can see, we're pushing down. We need to see a shift in momentum. We need to see price do something like this. A strong candle close doesn't have to be that big, but a statement that says, okay, support is holding, buyers are back in control, and something like that could be a great entry signal on the 4-hour chart to take it back into the swing high. Because that's what I'm looking to do. We've got a lovely double bottom here. We've broken structure. If this is going to form a trend to the upside and we are going to continue higher, then we need to see something that symbolizes a higher low forming. At the moment, I've drawn a pretty nice sloping downwards trend line, just kind of hugging price there, and we will respect it very well. And of course, as long as price stays true to that, we could very much keep falling, which of course is something I don't want to see as a buyer, at least. So I want to see a clear sign that says the buyers are back in town, and a strong engulfing candle, maybe a bit of wicks as well, would illustrate that well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for Aussie dollar. If not, then potentially we're going to get another drop. I've marked this area here as well, which is the kind of the low end of the consolidation, which still looks like a nice place for a buy for Aussie dollar, but maybe we have to be patient and wait for price to get there first before we do get any entries. So Aussie dollar, I'm looking for a lot more upside, basically a swing back to the high, and we are coming to a nice area for that. You can see this is where we had a lovely consolidation, big push to the upside. So this is definitely an area where buyers would be looking to get back involved in the market. Of course, whether they're successful or not, that's a different question. But that's an area where it makes sense to buy. Now it's just waiting for price action to tell us it's the right time and that we're likely to push to the upside. At the moment, that's not quite the case there with Aussie dollar. So keep a close eye on price action here. At the moment, still kind of very sluggish and it looks like we'll probably keep falling. But should we see a strong shift in momentum, I think we do have some USD news this afternoon. Maybe that could be the catalyst to get the ball rolling a bit to see some upside. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for Aussie dollar. Same thing with dollar CAD as well. I'm waiting for a push to the downside, but the price action isn't quite there yet. So waiting for a bit more development at that high wicks, stronger candlestick closures, and then find some entries. If not, I'll look for a slightly bigger push to 1.45 before looking for some entries. But it's the same situation. And also, I'm keeping a close eye on the dollar as well, because although with the dollar, I'm very much bearish, looking for another big drop. We've got one high there, second one over there. I'm looking for a third one for a push down. At the moment, dollar has created these new lows here. So I'm actually looking for a bit of a move to the upside. The market looks relatively tired. We did have a big drop the past couple of weeks, and now we're kind of just slowly chugging to the downside. So the market looks pretty corrective, looks tired. Looks like we probably will have a push to the upside. And hopefully we do, because I want to see once I can find that retracement to short dollar and buy euro, buy pound, buy Aussie, sell dollar CAD, so I can trade all those opportunities. I do want to see price push up before I sell, but even though put my kind of wants and hopes to one side, the price action is also showing the signs of that, of how tight it is. So if DXY does have a push to the upside, again, that's not a good sign for buys right now, at least for Aussie dollar. Because if DXY does push up, it means USD strong, which will probably invite more downside for Aussie dollar. So being a bit careful there. As we see that strong momentum shift, I'll kind of hold my horses a little bit with Aussie dollar. But anyway, we'll go through some of the yen pairs. We did briefly chat about pound yen. I'm still very interested with the yen pairs, but we've seen a lot of momentum lately. A lot of the yen pairs this morning have looked not pretty bullish, but they've had some bullish reactions. Again, in terms of the overall direction of the market, they're still pretty downwards or pretty flat for some of them. But at least this morning, we've had a bit of a bullish reaction. Now, what I can say is that this leg that we've had since the big push there for pound yen has overall been very, very corrective. So the shorts haven't looked great, to be honest, for pound yen and quite a few of the other yen pairs, which we'll get to shortly. Again, the whole idea after we saw this impulsive move was I'm looking for a lower high to form for us to short it back down. We did see one that was very, very aggressive, so I stayed away, especially because we had such an aggressive move. I wanted price to develop a little bit, maybe fake the high once, and then I can find an entry somewhere. That's what I was waiting for it to happen. In this instance, we didn't see that happen. We kind of put a high in and then slowly pushed down. But because we've been so corrective on the way down, it's kind of made me lose a little bit of, not necessarily confidence, but just not as optimistic unless we see momentum come from somewhere like we had over here. Really nice bearish momentum. Likewise over there as well. If that can happen again, fantastic. I'll be looking for pullbacks and retest, you name it. I'll be looking to short it. But if we stay corrective like that, that's just not something I'm looking to follow, because as someone who's looking to trade pullbacks, the whole idea about trading a pullback is that there's a lot of momentum in one direction and you're looking for price to have a breather in the opposite direction, a rest, a pullback, correction, for it to then continue in the original direction. So the more momentum that's in the bearish leg, the more selling pressure that's in that leg there, the higher the chance that this move is just a pullback for us to form a high to continue to the downside. If there's a lack of momentum in this leg and the market's very corrective, very choppy, then the odds of this leg here being a retracement, a pullback, does go down, and just the quality of the setup will reduce as well. The whole idea is that there's a lot of force in one direction. I'm looking for price to slow down and pull back in the opposite to then continue its journey. If price stays corrective like this, then that's not necessarily a move which I'm looking to follow. Even with my high time frame bearish bias, Because I'm still expecting pound yen to get back to the wick low here. That's still very much the play I'm looking at. But if we stay corrective, sure, we might correctively just eventually go and hit the move, but that's just not something I'm looking to follow. Bias is one thing, setup is another. I'm looking at predominantly the daily, weekly charts to create an overall bias, which direction I want to swing towards. But there needs to be good setups, which predominantly I'm looking in the 4-hour chart, which is not quite there yet with pound yen. So I'm looking for us to pick up momentum from somewhere. If we don't, then I'm going to kind of sit on the sidelines and wait for that to happen. And of course, let's not forget, maybe price is going to have a big move to the upside. Maybe price isn't going to sell off as well. And me waiting for a good setup is going to keep me out from a losing trade. Apologies, my voice is a bit croaky. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound yen. Us to pick up the pace and find some shorts at the moment, at least in the 4-hour chart. Nothing there is interesting me just yet. Euro yen, in fairness, is testing a massive level of support right now. So this one has had actually some nice momentum. So really nice drop there. Another one over there as well. I know we're becoming a bit more corrective now, but in fairness, we're at support. So I kind of expected to do that anyway. And if you look at the daily chart, you can see where we're trading. Massive, massive support here on the daily chart. So rightfully so, the market's kind of dancing around, moving sideways. And we still do have this big head and shoulder pattern, left, head, right shoulder. So again, long term, the bias is still very bearish for pound yen, as it is for euro yen, as it is for pound yen. I'm still looking for big drops here. But in terms of getting the trades, that's where the profit is made. That's where you have to be very accurate and timing your entries well, and making sure you're putting your stops in appropriate places too. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me to be looking to sell euro yen and coming into really strong support, even if I'm expecting support to break. So with euro yen, as I was hinting to yesterday, it's either one or two things with this one. It's either price bounces from support again to put another lower high in and we come back down. Then that will be a trade I will look to take on the 4-hour chart. Something that looks a bit like this. Or we go and break support. We see a big move to the downside with a lot of momentum. And I look to catch the next lower high after that and continue momentum to the downside. It's either one or the other. And of course, I map out these setups now, but things can change. Maybe a new setup does come, or maybe I don't like one of the setups and I don't take the trade. But something like this is what I'm looking for. At least in these two situations, I'm not selling directly into support, which is something I really don't want to do, especially in this situation with euro yen, because that's a pretty strong level of support on the daily chart. But I am looking at a lot more downside for this one on the higher time frames. So I'm just making sure I'm timing my entries very well. At the moment, euro yen, no clear short to take, so I stay on the sidelines. But that's really what I'm looking for. But at the moment, we're bouncing on support. We just had a really strong 4-hour close. I wonder, are we going to get pushed to the upside now? It does look likely. If I go take a look at CAD gem, which has been pretty bearish, to be honest, because CAD's been pretty weak. So this is actually a yen pair, which has actually had an okay move. Again, I'm still looking for us to go take out the wick low there. Again, another yen pair, which looks like it's forming a massive head and shoulder on the higher time frames. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder there as well. I'm looking for us to go and take out this low here. So that's the direction I'm looking to trade towards for CAD yen. Again, in terms of an opportunity, we have to be patient because, again, the market's still very corrective. But should we get a move something like this back into a high, that would interest me. So something like this. First, you can say second there as well. Third, and then looking at a fourth, and then hopefully we can catch the swing at least back to the low, but more so back to this daily, weekly low there. So with CAD yen, I actually don't mind this opportunity because we've seen some nice momentum in the bearish leg. Other yen pairs are just very choppy. They're respecting support, so it doesn't really give me a lot of confidence to be shorting them at this moment in time. But CAD yen does. There's a nice move there. CAD's been pretty weak, and it has left some areas which I would be looking to take some shorts. You can see the lower highs price has been printing. Now I'm looking for that to continue. So I'm pretty bearish on CAD yen. At the moment in time, this is probably my preferred yen pair to trade. But of course, even with this one, a lot needs to happen before I do get a trade. But it looks relatively neat and tidy. Other yen pairs like Aussie yen, again, haven't been particularly great. I mean, I wouldn't mind to see if we can get another correction back into this area, kind of similar to what I'm looking at for CAD yen. But CAD yen has a lot more momentum, so I'd rather trade CAD than Aussie. But again, with this one, where I'm expecting price to get to this wick low here, very much looking at the continuation of that bearish drop, and it looks like we're slowly making our way towards that area. We've got a lovely head and shoulder pattern at play, left head, right shoulder. I'm looking for us to get back into that low there as well. So that's the direction I'm looking to trade towards. And on the 4-hour chart, if I just clean it up quickly, I'm looking at another lower high in relation to this structure here. So we've got one lovely drop, two lovely drop, third, again, another drop. Now I'm looking for another lower high for, again, another big drop. And I like it because there's a lot of room to the downside. If I catch the high well, targets would be back at the low, but I would love to leave positions to run to see if we can get it back to the daily/weekly swing low there as well. So this is the plan I have for Aussie yen. Like I said, CAD looks a little bit cleaner because of the momentum. And again, with the yen pairs, they all kind of move in a similar fashion. So I don't see a point of me looking to short Aussie yen and short CAD yen because 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they'll do the same thing really. So I'll just pick the better one, which at the moment looks like CAD, but we'll see if we can get the pullback to start with. CHF also trading into major support as well, so not really interested with shorting this one just yet. If I expand to the daily chart where we're trading, really big support. If you look to the left, again, doesn't make too much sense about shorting directly into support here, even though I'm expecting price to break the level. Again, I would wait for price to break through first before I then do take any shorts. So being very, very careful of that. Dropping to the 4-hour chart, if I do get into a trade, it's because price has cleared support, and I'm probably looking at a retest of the structure, something like that. Try and catch the next lower high. In fairness to Swiss yen, we've been very, very consistent with all these lower highs. So if I do see another drop, the odds of us forming another one are pretty high. And I'll be looking at retest, another lower high, and then on our way. And again, for this one, if I expand to the daily chart, what do we have? Another head and shoulder pattern, maybe not the most clear one, but it does fit the mold. And then there is our neckline as well. So Swiss yen, I'm expecting really big drops to the downside. This one is trading at all-time highs. Let's not forget that as well. If I quickly expand to the monthly chart, see where we're trading. This is our prime swing high. This is our new swing high at all-time highs. I'm expecting a pretty big correction pretty soon for Swiss yen. So for this pair, if it does play out well, it could be a trade that goes pretty far. So, and with a lot of momentum too. So I do like the opportunity, but this is what I'm looking at for Swiss yen, which again might take some time. And dollar yen, I do like the sells for this one as well. But again, staying pretty patient because right now, where we're trading, really, really big support. So although I have a bearish bias for dollar yen, I'm expecting it to break the floor. And I'm expecting us to come all the way back down here. That's still very much the plan I have for dollar yen. But again, does it make sense for me to be shorting the market right now in terms of where we're trading? Absolutely not. So being very, very careful of that. So again, for dollar yen, I'm looking for us to have a bit of a correction first and then try and catch that next lower high and short it at least back to where we came from. Or if price starts to break through, great. Then I'll be looking at some pullbacks for some continuations. We do have a lovely trend line connecting the highs there. Potentially looking at another high to catch, or maybe another one on the retest, or another lower high somewhere. So that's really what I'm looking at for dollar yen. It hasn't quite set up yet in terms of how I'm going to take the entry, how I'm going to take the setup. I'm very much waiting, monitoring price, let it do its thing. And when the setup comes, make sure I'm there to take the trade. But right now, all we're doing with dollar yen is rebounding at really strong support. So despite my bearish bias, I need to hold back. This is where the buys are located. I expect the level to break, but I don't want to be looking to find that out with a trade. Let's wait for either price to pull away from the zone. I can find some entries Yeah, as we approach this kind of area here, that would be a nice place for a short, because I know I'm back in bearish territory. I can see lower highs here. There's a good chance a high would form if the price action looks good. Likewise, if we break through support, then there's a good chance we'll see some follow through as well. So that's kind of really where I'm at with dollar yen and the yen pairs in general. And of course, if we have a quick look at the yen basket, which kind of sums up everything together. So this is the yen basket, and this is what I've been looking at. So we've had a really nice trend line connecting all the higher lows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I say 4. I've been looking for a fourth one. The fourth one hasn't formed yet. We've had 1, 2, 3. But I've been looking for a fourth. It just hasn't been hasn't formed yet. So I'm looking for either that fourth to come around, or for a breaking test of this zone here, which is 6,800. Again, it's up to price. In terms of the direction, I'm looking for price to push into. Again, resistance back here at 7,200. So the direction I'm looking to trade the JPY basket in is to the upside. So again, if I'm expecting the yen basket to push up, that means I'm expecting strength in the yen, which means the yen crosses should push down. Dollar yen, pound yen, CAD yen, euro yen, you name it, likely to push to the downside if we were to see that move. So with the yen basket, these are the two opportunities I'm looking at. Breaking test of the level, or the pull back into that zone. It would be nice to see if we can get this. I'm not too sure if we will anymore. Prices pulled back quite a way, and now we're back above resistance. So it might be looking at something like this, but even that opportunity is not quite set up yet. But either which way, I'm looking for more upside for the yen basket. So with the yen pairs, although they're not looking particularly great to short, at least I can say with some confidence that it does look like we're probably still going to see some strength in the yen, even though we've had a bit of a reaction this morning. So CAD yen, Aussie yen, I'll keep an eye on these guys for some shorts. I'll keep an eye on pound yen, euro yen as well. But again, nothing really to report over there. Still very, very corrective. Excuse me, voice is playing up today. Where was I? Alfonso, hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Euro pound stop loss 0.83, entry 0.82 ATP. Okay, I'll take a look at euro pound for you. Thank you, James. I was going to try and pronounce your name there, but I was definitely going to do a really bad job at that. James, I can pronounce though. Appreciate it. Tetelestai, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Excuse me. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. South Africa is okay. Okay, that's good to hear. Just want to check about pound and NZD pair. Okay, we'll have a quick look. First, I'll go for euro pound to see what Alfonso is looking at. Okay, so yeah, euro pound have been pretty bearish on this one. I'm looking for a push back into the lows here. The thing I like about euro pound is that we've been very, very consistent. Actually, if I go to the 4-hour chart and zoom out, actually no, daily chart. If I go to the daily chart and zoom out, overall the market's been pretty bearish here. Very, very consistent lower highs, once, twice, a third time, fourth, fifth. Do apologize. My voice is just not letting me speak today. But we can see a clear-cut bearish trend here. So I'm expecting more of the same. The odds of us getting back to the low here are pretty high. I do know that we are trading in a massive, massive level of monthly support where we could turn around. But we have kind of failed to do that. You can see the last month's candle, big wick to the upside, failure to really close and show momentum. So it does look like this low here is probably going to get taken out. Maybe even revisit the low there on the left as well. So in my book, euro pound is pretty bearish, and knowing what we're doing on the higher time frames, it does look like another high is just formed for us to push back down. And also, Looks like another head and shoulder pattern. Left head, right shoulder. There's your neckline, which you snap through as well. So I do expect more downside for euro pound back into these lows here. I did talk about last weekend some shorts from the retest of the range here. Unfortunately, just about missed on that. Would be nice to see price correct, test that area, then get the drop. But unfortunately, we didn't quite see that happen. So, I mean, we haven't seen that happen yet. Potentially, price might consolidate and still give us that move there. So I'm not going to rule that out completely. But we are looking pretty bearish with that drop. I know we're coming back into support, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were to break through. Alfonso, you said you're currently in a euro pound. Your entry is 0.82839. Whereabouts is that? 82839 is about here-ish. Stop loss 0.83043. 83043, which is looks like it's just at that high there. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And your take profit is 0.823. 823. Okay, so more or less back at the low here. So basically back at support. So yeah, I quite like the position. As I said, I'm expecting more downside for euro pound. I was looking for the test of that range, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen at this moment in time. We've got really powerful support here, which price has rejected a few times, so I'd watch out for that. But should that level break, I think you're in the money there, back to the low. Again, looking at the higher time frames, looking at price, seeing how consistent we are for all those lower highs, it looks to me that price just printed another one, as we have continued to do so for a while now. So it looks like price has printed another lower high. If that is another lower high, then you can expect there's a good chance we get back to the prior low. So in terms of your target, I think there's a likelihood we get there. I like the momentum as well for euro pound. We had a pretty strong impulse move to the upside, followed by a very strong push back down again, which is kind of like, prices tried to break to the upside, but the sellers just kicked back in and kept us bearish. Since then, price has formed a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Perhaps this is the next lower high as well. Nice drop to the downside, breaking through a counter trend line there as well. So if that support breaks, then you're looking pretty good in terms of price coming back to your take profit. There's a possibility we do dance here and potentially push back up again. So again, every trade is always going to have a situation where price might hit a level, then it reverses against you. No trade is going to be completely clean to your target, or at least 99% of the time it won't be. But yeah, there is some support there to watch out for. But if that can break, yeah, I'll be looking for a push back into that double bottom there as well. So yeah, I like the trade idea. Stop loss in a nice place, entry nice place as well, target nice place. Looks like a risk reward of probably a 1 to 2.5 there maybe. So yeah, I reckon you're looking pretty good. And again, even because I like the trade doesn't mean it's going to play out, but there's a good logic to the trade in a nice place, flowing with higher time frames, momentum in your direction. There's a lot of boxes ticked with that position. Okay, I'll go through pound NZD, and I'll probably go through more of the crosses whilst I'm on the topic. So I'll go through some of the CHF pairs. I'm still holding my Aussie CHF position there. I've actually gone break even on Aussie CHF right now, so I'll quickly go over that. So yeah, pound NZD looking really bullish. So for this one, it looks like we're just going to see a clean move back to the high there around about 2.24. Again, look at pound NZD on the daily chart. Look how consistent we've been with these high lows: 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6. So the market has just been so consistent with these high lows. It looks like we just formed another one. And with the strong break of resistance we got yesterday, with a strong break of resistance we've just got, the probability of us seeing a push back to resistance now is very, very high. So I would be looking at something like this now for pound NZD, preferably on the hourly chart, and then trades back to the high there at 2.24. The probability of price seeing this swing now is just very, very high. The overall trend in the higher time frames is bullish, successive higher lows, momentum is still bullish, really strong breakout as well. It's not like a breakout that kind of just slowly pushed to the upside. This is a very powerful move breaking through resistance, and we're overall in the direction of trend here. So the likelihood of us seeing a continuation back to the high is extremely high. So if we can get some pullbacks, that would be great. Of course, there's a situation where we might just keep pushing to the upside. So you might not find an opportunity to find a trade, but should we pull back, great, you've got an opportunity to find a trade and trade it back to the high there. So yeah, I like the opportunity, really bullish for this one. We might have a slightly deeper pullback into the trend line, but as long as you can reject the resistance well, turn support, you're in a nice position there to take a buy. So pretty bullish there for pound NZD. Again, at least back to the high there. Once we get there, we might sell off again. So targets back at the high makes the most sense. In terms of Aussie Chef, I did go break even with this one this morning. I did go break even after we took out the lows there as well. I'm still looking at a bit more downside for Aussie Chef before I do sort of take some profit off the table. I'm looking for a push back into the low here. I'm still looking at for a longer term move back to the low all the way here as well. That's where I do see the market going eventually. But I'm being very careful because I know there's a big level of support right here around 0.8562, which is definitely a level which could send price against me. So I've got to be careful of that happening. But I'm at least looking for price to get back into the prior low, which is 0.855682. And if that breaks, then we could be looking at a really big move back to the low here at 0.536. But like I said, I just went to break even recently. Price had a nice drop. We continuously broke through lows, so that has made me go to break even. So there's no risk on the table anymore. And I'm looking to see if we can continue falling. Bit of a reaction at the lows there, but again, I'm not a very active manager of my positions. I'm very much, set my targets, set my entries, set my stop loss. I will, of course, manage my break evens and manage where I do take my profits. But in terms of the fluctuation of the market, I try to let the market do its thing. I don't want to be too active on that because there'll be many times where, you get a little bit panicky, price is moving against you, you close the trade and just see price roll over and go and hit your targets. Us humans, we do tend to trip over our own feet sometimes and get in the way of things happening. You don't want to be afraid of price coming back to your entry and maybe stopping you at break even or even a stop loss. You put the risk on the trade in the first place. You want to accept that. As long as you're confident with your trades and confident with your position, there is no harm with taking a loss. As long as you're putting on good trades that fit the plan well and you're confident with, there's no harm in taking a loss with that. Of course, if you take in random trades, then of course you're going to be very, very nervous taking a position because there is no logic with the trade. But yeah, for this one, I've gone to break even and let the market do the rest of the job. We're either going to push up and I'll walk away with the break even, or we're going to get the continuation and I'll close the trade at the low. So we're going to see what happens with that. But I've been pretty bearish with the CHF pairs. Like I said, I haven't found any other CHF entries because I've been trading Aussie CHF. But now that Aussie CHF is break even, I can now jump into another CHF trade if I want to. In terms of jumping into another CHF trade, I'm keeping a close eye on New Zealand CHF to see potentially if we push back into resistance. I want to see a bigger move like this for the trade because I don't want to be looking at any kind of minor breaking retest in these areas because that's where you're going to get the most noise and you're not going to find a clean stop loss. Preferably, I want my stop loss above the high. If I zoom out for New Zealand CHF, overall, again, what do we have? Clear-cut bearish trend. So the odds of the market continuing to the downside are pretty high. And a push back down to the low here is pretty high as well at 0.496. But in terms of taking any entries, in terms of taking any trades, I do like the possibility of a retest of this zone here and trying to find the next lower high for another push back into support. That's really where I'm looking to take the trade towards, and target, similar to what I'm doing for Aussie CHF as well. And of course, they're very similar trades, which is why I didn't get involved with New Zealand CHF initially, because if I had Aussie CHF on, New Zealand CHF on, both trades are going to fail most likely, or both trades are going to lose most likely. So might as well just double my risk at that point. But yeah, New Zealand CHF, if it does pull back, I'll be there waiting. At the moment, it's kind of middle of nowhere, so I don't really see a trade right now. But if we were to push back to resistance, preferably spike the high a little bit as well. That looks like a nice area to short from, and I'll take some entries. But it has been a very, very choppy run here for New Zealand CHF, as the CHFs normally are, which is why a lot of people don't like them. Nice tip on trade management. I think there is a point overdoing it. Prematurely 3 short trades and left 1, only for it to go beyond TPs. Yeah, again, because of course, when you do take a position, you're putting money on, so your initial want is to kind of protect those floating profits. You don't want that to go. You don't want that to disappear. You don't want to lose those profits. So you want to take the profit. You want to close those positions. But of course, that can cap your wins, because if you don't let your trades play out to your targets, you close your trades early, and that will reduce your average risk reward. And the funny thing is, we don't normally do that with our losses. Normally we do hold our losses right to the very end, wherever our stop loss is. You would hold that trade right to the very end, just like I did with Aussie CHF here as well. Price was very, very close to my stop loss. You can see it was only a few pips away from my stop loss, but I held that position all the way. Price was either going to stop me out, or it was going to turn around into profit. I was always going to hold into the position. So now that I'm in profit, it would make no sense for me to close the trade early, because I wouldn't have done that for the loss. So I shouldn't be doing that for the win as well. So you always would be taking full size losses, but then you'd be closing your trades early and taking half the position of your wins there. So it would just really mess up your risk reward, which is something us traders really rely on, for our consistency. So yeah, always look to try and hold to your targets. Even it's going to be difficult, but it's something you have to do with. I appreciate follow the trend. Yeah, true. Very, very true. Again, I've been there before as well, closing trades early because of the drawdown, just taking the loss and then moving on. But again, the way I see it is, I take an entry, I take a stop loss, I put a TP on there for reasons. I'm not doing randomly. So I've got to respect that at the end of the day, even though it will be uncomfortable, sitting in a trade and a drawdown. Because imagine I took the position here on Wednesday, the 12th, and by the 12th of Feb, and then by the following week, Thursday, the 20th of Feb, you're still in drawdown. So that is over a week you're in still in drawdown, no profit. Well, you did see some profit initially, but you wouldn't have closed anything there as well, and there's still risk on the table. So it does take some endurance to stay in the trade, but again, you will get used to that as you trade more frequently. Yes, I will take a look at copper for you, no problem. Let the sell begin. Okay, is pound yen doing its thing now, Dark Shom? Let me go through copper quickly, then we'll take a look at GJ. Okay, let's see what copper's doing. Okay, so copper overall clearly an uptrend, a little bit more kind of a rangy uptrend, but there's a slight inclination to the chart there. We are still seeing higher lows. So longer term, the odds of us getting back to the high are pretty high there. So pretty bullish on this one longer term. So predominantly looking for buys. However, we are stuck at some resistance right now. So it's probably not the best time to be looking to buy the market, even despite that bullish bias I have. But should price break the resistance here and start trading above that, then yeah, the buys will look fantastic. The odds of us pushing back to the swing high would be very, very, very high, ironically. And we'll probably go and take out the high there at 5.1. So above the highs here, we've got the green light to really, be aggressive and take copper to the upside. However, we're not above the resistance just yet. We're still trading at the resistance, and for all we know, we could still see another big swing to the downside, because quite frankly, right now, copper is ranging. So we could push right back down again. So it's in bearish territory. So there's two things what you could do here really with copper. You could wait for price to make that bullish move, which may or may not happen. There's like a 50% chance we either break the resistance or we push back down again. But what you could do is wait for the resistance to break and then start to look for opportunities above that, perhaps the retest of that area. And you've got some really big swings to look at if you want to, really take the trade back to the highs. You've got the possibility to do that. But we have to be trading above resistance. If price doesn't break resistance, then potentially we might get another sell and do something like this, which I'm not so interested in. It's a nice place to short the market, 100%. So if you're looking for shorts, now's the time to do that back at resistance. I don't mean now, but once we get back up to resistance again, that would be a nice place to short. But again, I'll keep it short and sweet just because I know the bigger move is likely to the upside for copper. Get my metals mixed up there. So I want to be focused on buys mostly, but yeah, right now we're still stuck at resistance, so I'd be careful of that. But something like this would be a really nice trade. Just looking for the next higher low. We've got one over there, second, third, fourth, and the trend continues. So that would be a really nice trade. But like I said, we've got a lot of work to do. We need to see a strong break, a pullback, and then the buy. So that could take a whole week or maybe even 2 to form as well. But right now, still stuck at resistance, but this will be a quality setup on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so let's take a look at pound yen. Ooh, okay, nice short. Okay, the sell looks like it is beginning, Darkashon. We came back into that area and looks like price is having a lovely reaction there as well. So yeah, looking pretty good. Where's your targets for the trade, Darkashon? Even whilst you're unwell, still taking nice trades. That is great to see. But yeah, pound yen really in a nice place. Really nice place for a short. We were going through this previously. I liked how price just kept taking out highs and then shorted really aggressively afterwards. And looks like we're seeing that pattern repeat again there as well. I did say that this consolidation could be a nice place to target. We could go a lot further as well, but of course it depends what you're looking for. I know Darkshon only looks for around 70 pips. I'm not too sure of the exact entry, but roughly, let's say around here, you're looking at roughly about 70 pips into that area there as well. So it looks like a nice target back into 189. Okay, looking for 100 pips this time. Okay, so 100 pips will take you back into here roughly. I mean, we could even see, to be honest, 170. But again, it depends what you're looking for, how much risk you're willing to take. Because of course, the more you hold on to, the possibility of price potentially going back against you is there as well. So you have to be careful of that. I think mostly if you're looking to target within this range here, it's a safe bet because that's where all that momentum came from. And if maybe price wants to form a higher low and push back up against you, this is probably where the high low is going to come from. If you were targeting down here, nothing necessarily wrong with that, but you do run the risk of maybe price pushing into this level and bouncing against you. But if your targets are more or less around 189, 188.8, I think that's a sensible place for a target. And the risk reward looks pretty good as well too. So yeah, I really like pound yen, I must say. I mean, the structure is very choppy, but at least there's some sense to it. We're not just mindlessly chopping around. We've come back into a nice area there on the left. So yeah, things have looked pretty good there for pound yen. And I like the double top as well because price tested it once, had another push to the upside, rejected it aggressively, boom, nice aggressive sell. So yeah, I do like pound yen. It looks pretty good. Which the 4-hour chart look like that. Waiting on gold retest at 29.11. Okay, we'll take a look at that for you. Okay, not on my meds. That's why you took the trade. My brain's working 100%. Okay, cool. Yeah, you don't want to be taking trades on the meds. I don't condone that behavior. That could go badly. But yeah, looking like a nice trade. So hopefully that can see a nice swing for you. I'll go take a look at gold for that retest of 29.11. Kingsley, what is up? Great to see you again as well, my man. Hope you're doing good. Stream from Cape Town. Nice. Beautiful. I can imagine. Very nice weather. Yeah. I need to go to Cape Town again. I had a great time when I went. DXY, USDZR, New Zealand CAD. Okay, no problem. We'll have a look. See. T-Man, we are still bullish on pound yen. Not so much for myself. I'm still pretty bearish on pound yen actually. I'm not really looking to too long pound yen. Overall, I'm actually looking for a push all the way back to the swing low here for pound yen, which is 180.255. Very bearish on myself. I know this morning we had a strong reaction, but the market structure is still very consistent with the lower highs. I completely missed that one over there. Let's do that again. The structure is still printing lower highs. So unless we go and break structure, then yes, we might see some upside. But even so, I'm still looking at these major highs prices forming. Even if we do start trending to the upside, are we expecting another major lower high to form for us to come back down again? So I'm not bullish on pound yen at all, really. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not a fortune teller, but my confidences and my analysis tell me sell. So I'm just more focused with the shorts right now. Anyway, let me go through gold, looking for that 29.11 retest you mentioned. Whereabouts is that 29.11? Okay, so let me drop to the hourly chart. Okay, so you're looking for price to come back and retest that drop there. I mean, it looks good, and we've seen some momentum there. I don't like it because we are pretty much within a range, but that is a nice area where we did consolidate and had a big drop. So price could come back there, respect it, and see another drop. What I'm looking at for gold is for price to clear this support level here on the 4-hour chart before I do look for shorts, because I know gold is very overextended to the upside. We've seen a big move, so it's coming up to a point where retracement looks likely. And if that's the case, then possibly we could see a move back to the high there, which is the price swing high for gold at 27.80. So if gold can break through support here, I think the shorts will look really good, because now that we're breaking through 4-hour support, the odds of us seeing a lot more downside just go up a lot higher. Sells in there look good. I think if maybe you're trading on the 50-minute chart, it's a nice place for a short. We consolidated there and it had a big drop. So coming back to revisit will give you a nice reaction. Would it be enough to get the break of support? We don't know. But should we get the break of support, then that's going to interest me, because at that point, I think we can see a lot more downside. But yeah, it's a nice place for a short, 100%. I'll go through DXY, USDZR, and New Zealand CAD for Kingsley. So as I mentioned for the dollar, I'm still pretty bearish on the DXY. However, I do want to see a bit of a pullback for this one. We've got these major highs, 1, 2, and potentially 3, and I'm looking for a third one in that area. Again, dollar has been bullish for quite a while, but we've kind of broken through this bullish environment a long time ago, and since then the market has been printing lower lows and lower highs. So I'm looking to see if we can form another lower high in this sequence, something like that. I don't know why I used it doesn't quite line up with the trend line anyway, but you could do for a big wick, but something like that is what I'm looking at, especially a pullback into that supply there. Really strong drop on the 4-hour chart. It would be great to see price come back to retest that. Then possibly a push back into support if we've got the juice, but we can discuss that at a later date. First, we need the pullback, which I think looks pretty likely. The market looks really tight right now, rejecting support pretty well, very corrective. So since we have seen a big drop, the chances of us having a bit of retracement is looking pretty high there. But this is the trade I'm interested, or the move I'm interested in for the dollar. I'm favoring some more weakness. Looking at USDZAR. So with USDZAR, let's see what we're doing here. It's a bit of a weird one, really, for USDZAR. I mean, price is doing a good job respecting the highs here. So, once over there, twice, kind of a joint third time over there. Now potentially a fourth as well. So because we're so corrective, it does look like price is trying to push the upside. I would expect the cleaner reaction here at the high if we were going to sell. The fact that we've tested the high a couple of times and now it's starting to kind of form this kind of wedge pattern does look to me like price is trying to do something like this and continue with this bullish structure here. So I would actually be looking at some opportunities for some buys. It does look like we're retesting resistance turn support here. I would be careful though, because the trend line is still there. The trend line is still there and we could still get that sell. But something like this, maybe another push to the downside, respect support, so I can get a nice stop loss below the low, because we are still forming these lower highs here, and we're doing a pretty consistent job at it. So I'd wait for another push down, back into support, and then look to try and take it to the upside. Possibly there could be a really big move from this level if we do see a breakout, so there's a possibility of that. But again, you got to be very careful. You could very much continue in this format. You might catch a nice buy, but only might be for a very short time. It depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a reaction, sure, great place for a buy. If you're looking for a big swing, also nice place for a buy, but you're trading directly into that resistance there. So it's not particularly great. What would be safer would be waiting for price to make that move and then look for the next pullback afterwards. At that point, you've got a good probability of price pushing back to the high there, because we've broken that trend line. Now you're looking at the continuation of this trend here. So now you got kind of the green light to buy. Right now, buying here, still a nice place for a buy. You're still flowing with this bullish structure, but it's just a bit of an awkward place. That's the only thing I don't like about it. And in terms of New Zealand CAD, not a big fan of this one as well. Again, I'm still pretty bearish on this one, sorry. Still looking for a push back down into support here, 0.79564. So that's still the direction I'm looking to trade in. We had a nice bearish channel at play, but it looks like price has broken out of that to a degree. Yeah, not really the cleanest break in the world, but I did say the shorts look good over here back when we got that rejection. But since then, we haven't really seen the drop that I've been looking for. We did see a nice drop. We only moved about 2/3 of the way before we found support and pushed back up again. So I wonder if price just form another lower high to push down. This is not a trade I will take, because when I am looking to take positions of a trend line, I do want it to be coming from a price swing low. So this is the time I'm looking to take a trade, not if price has done something like this, which is what NZD-CAD has done, which is push down and then push back up again. We might still see the continuation, but we might see something like this as well. At least when it's coming from a prior low, I know the trend is still down, it's still healthy, it's still intact. Here, I'm getting some red flags here. Again, the higher time frames do look pretty bearish, but for our chart, it's just running out of steam a little bit. So possibly we might hold resistance here and continue shorting, but it just doesn't look like a quality position right now. So I'm not a big fan of New Zealand CAD. I might have a bias for a pair, but if the setup's not quite, not of a good standard, I won't take the trade. And it might mean that sometimes I do miss the move because the setup wasn't quite there, but I'm willing to risk that. But yeah, hopefully that made sense. Okay, I'll ignore the message, Afonso. 1 hour is also broken, previously high GJ, meaning intraday we are bullish probably till 199, 191 level. Possibly that could be the situation, follow the trend. But the way I see GJ right now is that it is moving sideways on the 5-minute chart. Because that's the chart I was looking at for Darkshon. This is very much a sideways chart. It has had a nice bearish trend for a while, which is the lower lows and lower highs here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially 5 maybe. But the market's been incredibly flat. So the way I look to trade this is just if I'm looking to trade the range highs, I'll be looking to short as high as possible, catch a move back into the range, take my profit and run. The move may still be back to 191, as you mentioned, because we're starting to break highs there, maybe forming higher lows now. So maybe we do something like that. But in terms of right now, I can see that the market is very, very consistent in terms of every time it makes a spike to the upside, we do just sell off completely. And every time we make a spike higher than the previous one, that's when the sell comes to life, really. As we can see here, every time we spike, we push down, spike, push down, spike, we push down. So the odds of that happening again are pretty high as well, especially coming into this area here on the left. So I like that short there for GJ, as you said, because the structure is starting to push up. Possibly it might just be a correction for us to push back to 191 and maybe a lot higher as well. But this move here temporarily looks pretty good. On the 4-hour chart, things are still relatively quite corrective. So I don't really see a good short on this time frame or the hourly in that regard either. I think 5-minute chart looks good for a short. I'm not necessarily expecting us to take out the lows because we do have structure in our way, but short-term move makes sense. We may push to 191 and beyond. But yeah, I'm not as a big fan of that move as I am with the sells. But you have a point though. Okay, I see your point there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the markets in general. In terms of my interest and where I'm looking to take trades, I'd probably say dollar CAD, Aussie dollar is probably where my focus is right now for shorts. Again, I really like the price action for dollar CAD. Really nice break to the upside. Well, kind of gap to the upside, I should say. A couple of weeks ago, we had that big gap. Then price shot to the downside very aggressively. So the way I see this is price kind of manipulating the range in one direction to now push in the other. So the plan right now with USD CAD is I'm looking for that first lower high for some follow through. I've marked out a couple of areas where shorts look good. This area here initially, and that area should we push a little bit deeper. 1.45 up there looks pretty good as well. Now I'm just waiting for some entries. At the moment, we've had a pretty steep correction. So I'm being careful to not just jump straight in because typically when we have steeper corrections, they normally develop, consolidate a little bit before actually turning around. And sometimes steep corrections are not corrections, they're actually price reversing as well. So got to be careful of that too. So I'm looking to see if I can find some entries to short here from around 1.435 to take it back into the prior low and potentially beyond that as well. If we don't hold here, I'm looking at the range high here. In fact, this is kind of the level of resistance being manipulated. So I'm looking to see potentially if we come back to retest that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with dollar CAD. This is an opportunity which I really do like. So I'm keeping a very close eye on this one. Not quite ready yet, but maybe this afternoon there is some USD news, I believe, this afternoon. Let me just double check. Might even be some CAD news as well. So both currencies might be at play. No, we don't really have CAD news. At least not major news anyway. We've got GP for USD at 130 and jobless claims at 130 as well. So yeah, USD news this afternoon. Keep an eye on that. In terms of Friday, GDP for CAD. Okay, now that's the news I was thinking of. That's tomorrow. So GDP for CAD, and we've got PCE for USD as well. So there's a bit of news for this one over the next couple of days. But in terms of the technical bias, it's still very short. So I know what I'm looking to do. Just need to wait to find some entries for that one. Is there any free trading journal that gives stats and analytics? Yeah, go take a look at my FX book. My FX book is free to use. There might be a paid version, but you can use the free version. It will give you analytics about your trading, so win rate, risk to reward, all that lovely stuff. It will give you as well. So if you go to my FX book, you can connect your MT4 account, or they have different platforms. I think C Trade as well, probably even TradingView too. So yeah, check out my FX book. And also, I'm going to keep an eye on the Aussie dollar as well, which is pretty much the same trade as USD CAD, looking at the same move, but I'll keep an eye, see which one performs better as well, and then take that position. But with Aussie dollar, I'm looking at something like this as well. But right now, being very, very consistent, holding onto that trend line. So we're still pretty bearish. We might keep falling. Can't use it as it does not have my broker. Oh, okay. As a trade from trading. Oh, it doesn't have trading view. Oh, okay. I thought it might have done. Well, I don't know any other three. I keep saying three. I don't know any other free ones. I know some paid ones you could use. But I don't know any free ones, to be honest. Only free one I know is my FX book. Yeah, I kind of agree as well for the trend. Gold does have some room to the downside. Because again, gold's been so stretched, so it possibly might be time to retrace. It's been flying since 18th of December, pretty much down here, and it hasn't really stopped since. So maybe it's time to retrace. You got the prior high over there, which I'm pretty sure is what you're referring to, 27.90. We could even come back to test that high there. So if that support clears, I think that's the green light to be actually okay. We're in a bit of a bearish climate here, at least on the lower time frames, and some sales will look pretty good there. But of course, we'll have to see how everything shapes up. But yeah, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do really appreciate you tuning in to the stream today. I'm live every 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. Yeah, good point as well. At the end of the month, tomorrow is the last day of Feb. Feb's gone so fast. I know it's a short month as well, but it has. But yeah, guys, appreciate you guys tuning into another stream. I hope you have enjoyed it, found it useful. If you have, do me a favor and drop a like on the video, on the stream. It does really help out. And of course, subscribe to the channel as well if you're enjoying the content, finding it useful, enjoying yourself here. It does really help out as well. And make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. You can find the link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. I share ideas there so other people can join discussions. Also find out a lot more information about Elevating Traders if you are interested. So go check it out, completely free to join. Links in the description. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Like I said, I'll be live again tomorrow. Just before I end the stream, my voice starts playing up. Like I said, I'll be live again tomorrow, so I hope I do see you there. I'm live again later today as well on Trader Nick's channel as well. At least I think I am. So if you guys are free, go check out his channel. We'll be live again in about an hour and 45 minutes from now. Again, discuss what's happening and probably chat about Bitcoin a lot as well. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. If not, I'll be live again tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK times. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Drop a like before you leave. It really does help out. And I'll see you all in the next one.